There are a lot of NFL players who are going to go to the Hall of Fame. NFL players who could have been professional at other sports. But could they have made it to the Hall of Fame there?
Yeah.
Oh, go in! Yeah! Oh, goodness!
Oh, you made it! People love to talk about how LeBron James could have been an elite competitor in any sport, particularly the NFL. And while there is no denying that he is a special athlete, the NFL is one of the top-tier professional sports leagues in the world, and the competition to earn a roster spot on one of the 32 NFL teams is fierce. That being said, it is really only the top of the top that make it to the gridiron on Sundays. Some of these guys are so freakishly athletic that football is far from the only sport they could excel at. In fact, some of them would have been good enough to not just make it to the other leagues, like say the NBA or MLB, but to be stars in those leagues too. And it goes further than just the mainstream professional sports. We're talking about sports like golf, hockey, tennis, even bowling. The fact of the matter is that NFL players are such good athletes that you don't have to look far to find one who would have succeeded in another professional sport. I would go so far as to say that some NFLers could have been Hall of Famers in other sports, just as a bit of housekeeping, so we don't hear about it in the comment section. We're not including guys like Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders, who actually played multiple sports at the highest professional level, because what fun would that be? Now, without further ado, let's take a look at 10 NFL players who could have been Hall of Famers in other sports. Jimmy Graham, the superstar receiving tight end who only played 1 year of high school football before turning into a star in the NFL. Well, there was also the 1 year he played college football in Miami, but that only came after 4 years as a member of the Hurricanes hoop squad. I can't imagine we are catching very many people off guard with Graham here, as his basketball exploits were one of the most popular talking points back in his heyday with the New Orleans Saints. It was like the broadcast could not go more than 10 minutes without reminding the audience that the tight end was relatively new to the game of football, and that he was really a basketball player, very similar to what we saw with Antonio Gates during his career. The commentators were addicted to it. But that being said, it is fun to imagine what an NBA career might have looked like for Jimmy, especially with the way that professional basketball has evolved in recent years. Nowadays, teams love running those crazy small ball lineups with an undersized but explosive center. Imagine Jimmy Graham running rim to rim with Steph Curry, firing outlet passes 30 plus feet up the court to him. At 6 foot 8 inches, with his kind of hops and athleticism, he would have been a force to be reckoned with. It is worth noting that his numbers on the hardwood in college might underwhelm you, as he only started about 1/3 of his career games, averaging 4.2 points per game. But he did pull in nearly 6 boards a game and averaged over 1 block per contest. And stats are not exactly a surefire indicator of success at the next level. After all, he only recorded 17 receptions in his college football career, and we all know how that turned out. Similarly, Mike Evans, another big, talented receiving option in the NFL, might have made a very interesting NBA prospect, and perhaps even earned a spot in the Basketball Hall of Fame. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver started on the basketball court young, at 8 years old to be exact, and he played all the way through high school, quickly establishing himself as one of the best high school basketball players in Texas. In fact, he apparently received more offers to play basketball in college than football. According to Evans, he had 30 basketball offers from small to big-time schools, like the University of Texas, VCU, and Wichita State to name a few. Now, he was no slouch on the football field either. Evans was a 3-star recruit, and he loved the game in a way that he just didn't love basketball. So he decided to chase his gridiron dreams to Texas A&M, where he developed into the dynamic receiving target we all know and love. When I decided to commit to Texas A&M, I thought I had a higher ceiling and felt that I could make a career out of it, and I did. Evans said that during the Hoops Hype podcast. I ended up choosing football, and it ended up being the right route. Yeah, I guess you could say it all turned out all right for Evans. But still, he could have been something in the NBA. That leaping ability he has is special. And with hands like his, he could have developed into a great shooter. The sky really would have been the limit, while the athleticism required to excel in the NFL makes for a natural translation to the NBA. There is a more specialized football skill that some NFL players are elite at that would make them a natural fit in Major League Baseball. And that, of course, is the arm strength that we see from some of the best NFL signal callers, like Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes, both of whom were very talented baseball players in their younger days. Starting with the latter, Mahomes even has the pedigree to be a pro baseball standout. I'm sure you've all seen the shots of his father, Pat Mahomes Sr., from when he was a pitcher on the MLB circuit back in the day. I mean, it's no wonder that Patrick can sling a pigskin with the best of them. He actually showed some pretty serious promise on the diamond too. There are clips of him from the Little League World Series.
Now an RBI opportunity for Mahomes.
Need one of those Ocho Cinco comments right now.
It's a shot up the middle. Base hit. First run of the game will score.
And then the story of how he almost quit football during high school because of a career in professional baseball seemed to be his ticket to fame and fortune, even after he committed to playing college football full-time. Baseball scouts went to see him pitch in his high school baseball playoffs, where he squared off with Michael Kopech, who would go on to be the 33rd player selected in the MLB draft that year. Michael struck out 12 and only surrendered 1 hit. Mahomes, well, he struck out 16 and threw a no-hitter in the victory. That tells you all you need to know about how special he could have been in the big leagues. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, well, he was actually closer to playing in the major leagues. He was drafted by the Athletics organization and promised millions of dollars if he made the leap from football. But the former Oklahoma baseball and football standout had to trust his gut, his heart, and ultimately his bank account after he was selected first overall in his respective NFL draft. Not exactly two bad options to choose between there. Moving from the baseball diamond to ice hockey, which probably has the least crossover with the NFL, to be honest. There's actually a pair of NFL brothers that had some serious skills on the ice growing up, and considering their freakish athleticism and work ethic, it's not hard to imagine them excelling even in the professional ranks. Both TJ Watt and JJ Watt played hockey growing up, and we have seen some clips of them that suggest they haven't exactly lost a step. And I mean, listen to what JJ had to say about the sport, and try to tell me that you don't think he would have put his all into an NHL career. I grew up in Wisconsin loving hockey. I mean, I started when I was 3 years old on skates. I played all over, in Canada all the time, all over the US, all over Germany for a 10-day tournament. Hockey honestly was my first love. The excitement, the fast pace, the intensity of the game. I still love it to this day. Not trying to take anything away from the impressive athletes that actually do play in the NHL. But like, this is JJ, one of the best athletes we have ever seen. 6 foot 5 inches, 290 pounds of muscle. And considering he's been on skates from such a young age, it's not really a stretch to think of what he could have been. TJ is no slouch either. And from what JJ has said in the past, it sounds like TJ played hockey even longer than he did. It's too bad that hockey is not an easier sport in the body. It could have been a nice athletics outlet for JJ once his playing days are up. Kind of like golf or bowling is for many former pro athletes. The former quarterback and wide receiver combination for the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, have both of those sports covered though. In fact, both men are so talented at their respective sports, Ryan in golf and Jones in bowling, that they likely could have dominated the professional ranks in them as well. Matt Ryan has a plus handicap, which for those who don't know the ins and outs of amateur golf, which means that he's not a good but a great golfer, who on average is shooting better than par. All it takes is one ill-advised trip to the links to remind yourself just how hard that really is. And as far as Julio Jones is concerned on the lanes, I mean, come on, just look at him take it to his teammates at the bowling alley. And tell me that you don't think he has what it takes to join Pete Weber of Who Do You Think You Are, I Am fame on the professional bowling circuit.
Are you serious right now? You need to roll that ball in the gutter.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Even someone like Josh Rosen might have been able to find real success in another sport, apparently long before he was flaming out of the NFL. He was actually a really good tennis player. In fact, he only switched over because repeated injuries kept him off the court for an extended period of time, and he reached the point where he would either have to retire from tennis or get surgery. So he pursued football full time. I don't know. I don't want to be mean, but maybe he should have stuck with tennis instead. I mean, you know, he's still good at football, sort of. This whole NFL football thing doesn't really look like it's going to work out for him, so he could have a comeback, who knows. At least he is a quarterback and a former first-round pick, so we got a good bit of money out of all this embarrassment. Last but not least, we have the other football. Yeah, we're talking about football, the world's game. And apparently Aldo Beckham Jr., the freakishly athletic wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, was at one point on track to play soccer at the highest level, at least according to him. I started when I was 3 years old and played until I was about 14. That's what Beckham told NJ.com. My coach was pushing to try and get me on the national team and try out. At that age, you're 13, 14 years old. You know that to make it big in soccer, you're probably gonna have to go overseas. Obviously, that would be a goal, and that would be the dream. At that age, it would have been hard for me to leave my family and just go. You have to take everything, Beckham says, with a grain of salt. But considering the insane agility, speed, and footwork he's shown on the football field, I might just be buying what he's selling. Which NFL players do you think would have been surefire Hall of Famers if they played another sport? Did we leave anyone off the list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, we're on everything. Go subscribe, go follow. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes one click down below and subscribe to TPS. We post videos every day. Every day is a new video. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
On my knee.